We are live on all the platforms. Hope you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me, you can see me. Put something in the chat. Say hello. Let's have a conversation. Happy Monday. I see some familiar faces over here on Instagram, which is so cool. Y'all have been here every single day. So good, so good. All right, so today's day number 6 of the 10 days of money momentum. This one, we start to figure out, how do we reclaim our time? We talked about time in an earlier session in the sense of what? Oh, hold on. My team is going to shoot me if I don't record this. All right. We'll start that again. So we talked about time in a previous session, but we talked about the value of time. How do you value your time? And that it is the most important asset that you possibly could have, because it is the one that we can't buy more of. It is the one that we can't replace. It's the one that we can't put on the shelf and then use it later. Once it's done, it's gone. Anything else, this deck of cards, okay, don't ask why I got a deck of cards, but this deck of cards, we can put it on the shelf and we can use it later. But an hour of our time, a minute of our time, we can't do that. We can't do that. So it is the most valuable asset that we have. Yet the interesting thing, William Penn said, time is what we want, but it's what we waste the most of. So if time is such a valuable asset, let's talk about, how do we reclaim it? How do we get it back? How do we control it? How do we do this? Because here's what we know. As it comes to building your money machine or creating financial freedom, it isn't the finances that we want. It isn't. We talk about the critical outcomes of an affluent entrepreneur, the 3 critical outcomes. And this one speaks, this post and this element speaks directly to the first critical outcome. And the first critical outcome is a richer lifestyle. Melissa's back from Vermont. Drew's in the house. So is a richer lifestyle, not a big bank account, but richness in the way we experience life and the way we feel about it, the excitement that we have with it, the richness of it. Because I know a lot of people that have a tremendous amount of wealth and they have no time. See, I truly believe that our measurement of how wealthy we are should be measured in how much we can control the moments of our life. To be able to say, today, I'm just going to do this. To live truly a life by choice. To live truly, to be able to make a decision each and every day as to what it is we want to do. Okay? Not a life by need. We'll start out that way. We got to pay the bills. We got to do these things. But and I'm getting this because I think it's really important for us to really understand that the reason we're creating wealth, the reason we're creating this money machine, isn't for the machine or the wealth itself. It's for the life that we get to live. It's for us to be able to choose and do the things that we want to do, when we want to do them, how we want to do them, with whom we want to do them with. Wealth isn't the goal. Control of our time is the goal. Peace of mind is the goal. Allows us to do the things that we want, okay? Because if we can't control our time, we are captive to outside forces and demands. We're beholden to them. See, someone asked me a question, which is really an odd question, because I think you kind of know the answer, but I think they were surprised at my answer. And that is, they asked me if the cancer changed me. Of course it did. But how did it change me? And I looked at him and I said, I can say no much easier. And they kind of said, what are you talking about? So here's what I know. Until I stared mortality in the face. Look, we grew up. Everyone told us, your days are numbered. Your time, we have a limited time here. We hear it, but we don't take it in viscerally. We don't take it in until it smacks us in the face and we go, oh, they were right. It is limited. So here's what we know. If you've been given a certain number of slices of life, and I hope it's a lot, that when you say yes to something, you're giving a slice away that you can never get back. And so what the cancer did for me is to value the slices of life so much that I looked at it and said, oh man, I am not going to give a slice of my life away unless I know that I can give it everything I got, to pour my whole heart and soul in the moment, to make the moment matter. That's the legacy effect. To give it everything and ask for nothing less in return from the people that I get to serve, the people that I'm having a conversation with. If they can't be present in that fully in that moment, the transaction makes no sense. And so that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Hey, Courtney, we get it. I'm with you. So that's what I mean when I say it was easier to say no, because I looked at it and said, can I put my whole heart and soul in this? Can I give it everything? And will they give me everything back? Just for that moment. So we make the moment as valuable and powerful as possible. And if the answer to that was, I don't know or no, then the answer is probably no. But if it is a hell yes, then it's a hell yes. We get in there and do it. Why do I do this? Because I know I can give everything to it. Everything to it. The 10 days, beyond the 10 days, my show, everything else. When I get on stage, when I get a chance to coach with people and work with people, that's what I do. And if I feel any resistance or the possibility I can't give what I need to give to make it make sense, then I need to rethink it. And this is what this whole element is about. If we are truly trying to create money momentum, the key or the result of that is controlling the moments in your life, to reclaim your time, to be able to get your time back. We talked about the time loop, in the last one, where we were trading hours for money, and then money for hours, and then money for money. See how they're all stacking on each other. I wanted to take it and just take many steps to move you further and further along to not just a wealthy life, but a rich life. Not just a wealthy life, but a rich life. Okay. So what I want to do here is I want to give you a way. This is the way that I've reclaimed my life back. It is the way that I have done it. It's called the ABC method. I call it the ABC framework. It allows me to reclaim my time back. It is the process that I go through. And I'm going to ask you to do the same thing, because the more I can get you to hold on to your time and use it for the things that bring you joy, the things that fulfill you, the things that make you feel fully expressed, man, those are the days that you are going to be so vibrant. You're going to be happy. You're going to know it was a good day. That's what we want. We'll have our tough times. Let's try to keep those to a minimum if we can. Okay. So I'm gonna draw this out for those that are Actually, I'll use the slides for this. For those that are on Facebook and YouTube and everything, you will see it. Those of you that are on Instagram, I'm going to describe it to you so you know exactly what I'm doing and what it looks like to make that happen. And so it's the ABC. Just think about this. It's going to be a triangle. And the very first piece of this, the very first step in this process, and then I'm going to give you tactically step by step what to do. Okay, is to really understand and to look at it from this perspective. We need to assess our time. We talked about that in a prior session, but we need to look at it and say, where are the time leaks? What is going on? So what it requires you to do, okay, at the very base of that triangle is assess, is to be able to sit back and say what it is. So it requires us to do a couple things. One, it's going to require us to track time. And I gave you one way to track time in a prior session. We're going to dig a little deeper in this one. Okay, we're going to take you a little farther. I'm going to walk you through exactly what I did to make that happen. Because look, I can't, if I'm not measuring it, if I'm not tracking it, I don't know what's going on. And there's plenty of people that live with their head in the sand when it comes to their money, their finances, their weight, their health. My mother, for instance, okay, she is on dialysis. She has been on dialysis for 5 years. The reason that her kidneys failed was uncontrolled blood pressure. But the reason that it was uncontrolled is, now there is no real symptoms, but she just never went to the doctor. And so it was caught way too late. In my case, with the cancer, I was healthy. I was feeling good. I was doing the things, okay? But I hadn't seen a doctor in 7 years because I had moved. And it wasn't until I had some real symptoms that were visibly noticeable that I finally went to the doctor and they found the tumor. My point is that when we stick our head in the sand doesn't mean that things aren't happening. They are happening. So we need to track that first piece is really to sit back and say, okay, let's go to this other one. So is to really track it. Then the second part of the assess is, once we track it, is to decide what we're going to delete, what we're going to stop. What are we going to stop doing? Okay. What are we going to stop doing? Okay. So in the assess stage, you're looking to track things and delete things. The things that you don't need to be doing. We'll talk about how to delete things. I'm going to walk through a second framework, which isn't mine. It's Craig Ballantyne's, but I'm going to walk you through it because it helps you understand what the things that you need to delete. So the first stage is to assess it. The second stage is, once we've assessed it, is to look at it and say, all right, now I need to block. I need to block time out. And that requires two more things again. In order to block time out, the first thing is to understand sequencing. Because here's the thing, is that our time, not every minute is the same. Not every task is the same priority. So we need to sequence the time in a way that makes sure that the higher priority things get the attention first. So there's a sequencing involved with creating that process to reclaiming the time. So I'm going to assess it. I'm going to delete the things that I don't want to do. We'll talk about that in a moment. And then I'm going to sequence the things that I know that I'm going to be doing. Okay. So we sequence the things that we know we're going to be doing. And then this next piece of it is that once we sequence it, that's fine. Now we record it. We write it down. We log it into the calendar. We log it into our days. We make it real. It doesn't sit up here. No different than our finances, no different than our money. You are going to see that there's a parallel between tracking and managing your time and managing your money. If all I do is try to keep all of my financial stuff in my head, not recording it, not tracking it, not using scorecards like I do with the Affluence Blueprint students and my clients, and we're not tracking it on a regular basis in written form where we can see it and see the trends, we're going to miss things. Okay? So stage 1, assess, which is track, delete. Stage 2, block, which is sequencing and recording. Okay. Then stage 3, the final stage of our side of this triangle is all about committing. All right. Now we got to commit to it, which requires us to do 2 things. The first piece of committing to it is to make a decision, to decide what are the things that are going to take priorities, how am I going to sequence them, where am I going to log them, and make sure that they're in place. So there's a decision, and then once we start to make those decisions on a regular basis, what you're going to see is it develops a habit. So now all of a sudden what's happening is that every time you get to the end of the week, get to the end of the day, the beginning of the day, you do the same thing over and over again. Okay? Every day, every week, I do the same thing from a time standpoint. So I know at the end of my day, I look at my time blocking and I know, all right, I got this. What's on for tomorrow? I got to adjust it. Every week, I plan the week. I look at it. So I have a habit of doing it. And it becomes a habit. So it's assess, it's block, it's commit. That's the ABC framework that we need to do. So let's talk about how do you apply it now. Okay, that's great. Great framework, Mel. Great shape, great drawing, great all of that. How do you apply it? All right, so let's apply this thing so you understand how this goes about, okay? And really, we start to drive from a couple places. You're going to go through a couple of steps. And the first step is step 1. I want you to start a time diary, okay? A time diary. So let me I'm going to write it down for those of you that are not on Instagram. So step 1 is a time diary. Okay. Now, you're going to do this differently than what I said earlier. We're going to go in a bit more detail because it's going to be much more powerful to reclaim your time this way when you do it this way. So what you're going to do is for 7 to 14 days. I'm going to push you. I want 14 days. But if you don't want to do 14 days, let's do 7 days. But you're going to now track your time 7 to 14 days, and you're going to do it in 15-minute increments. Okay, in 15-minute increments, you're going to feel like an accountant, an attorney. You're going to feel like that. But here's why: because we're going to have the opportunity to start to see the patterns that are going on in our life. And it's those patterns that when we interrupt those patterns or we reset to another pattern, when we sequence things, now all of a sudden you've reclaimed the things that are really important. And all of a sudden, you're going to see that the level of joy in your life goes way up. Way up. All right, so you're going to do a time diary for 7 to 14 days in 15-minute increments. So here's what you do. You get your phone, you set a 15-minute timer. I know it's a pain in the butt, but you set a 15-minute timer. Every time it goes off, you write down what you did. Write down what you did. No judgment, what you did. Okay? Just write it down. Okay. Now, here's the thing. Step 2 of this is that you take the time to notice a few things. Okay? So you're going to notice a few things. 1, I want you to look for patterns. Okay? Look for patterns. You're going to see patterns in your time. You're going to see high productivity patterns. You're going to see low productivity patterns. I know for me that my highest productivity from a creative space, from a creation standpoint, is from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. My lowest productivity from a creative space is from 2 to 5. That's when I want to be delivering. Why am I doing this now? To deliver, to be on point. Okay. But all my creations earlier in the day, because I noticed my productivity level patterns. So you want to look for the productivity level patterns, and you want to find you want to find what I call your zone time. You want to look for those times of the day where you are in the zone. You're going, just leave me alone. I got this. And you are flying, you are doing stuff, and you are rocking and rolling. All right. The zone time is where you're going to put, when we talk about sequencing, the most important stuff. Okay. The most important stuff. So you're going to look for zone time as you start to log this week, and you look at the 2 weeks, the 7 to 14 days, you're going to look for the zone time. Hold on to that question. I'll get to that. You're also going to look for something else. You're going to look for leak time. This is those times where you're just kind of doing stuff and it's not really productive, and you're kind of going, what just happened? What did I just do? Okay. This is what's going to drive all of it. So step one is the time audit, the time diary. Okay. Step two is to notice the different patterns. Notice the different patterns. Step three, this is where you're going to use ABC to set up your week. So here's how this goes. Now, this is where we're starting to put things together, and this is going to answer your question, hopefully, okay? The first thing that you're going to put on that calendar are the non-negotiables. The non-negotiables. And if I spelled it wrong, y'all don't send me nasty notes, because my spelling sometimes is off. I'm a numbers guy. Come on. All right, non-negotiables. Here's the interesting thing. Do you know your non-negotiables are not your business? It's not about making money. It's not about revenue. Here's what your non-negotiables are: relationships, self-care. About you. Because if I neglect my relationships or my self-care, the rest of this isn't going to matter. So non-negotiables are relationships and self-care. Stephanie and I block time out for just us. I block time out knowing that I'm going to go to the gym every morning. Now, there isn't a whole lot of people demanding my time at 5 a.m. So it's easy to get to the gym. But then I also know that I'm going to spend time on the beach with Buddha. So all that time, that is non-negotiable. It is self-care. And sometimes we don't put self-care as a priority. And what happens is that when we don't put self-care as a priority, or we say, I'll get to it later, and we don't get to it later, guess what? Life has a way of making it a priority, but because you end up sick or with some sort of illness or some sort of thing. So the non-negotiables in this are relationships and self-care. First things first. You block that out. You set it on. You set it in there, and you don't move it. All right. The second thing that you're going to do is you're going to use what I call elevated time. This is your productivity time. This is strategy. This is planning. This is creativity. Okay. This is where you will do things. This is where I will spend the time and have my huddles with my team members, my strategy, like I had one this morning. Okay. So So this is the time that you strategize, you plan, you create, you are doing the things that are going to keep things moving forward. Okay. So I put the elevated time, the higher level time in play. The third block that I put in play is that this is where I put my zone time. This is from a business standpoint, this actually is is your most important stuff only. Okay. The most important stuff only. These are the things that if I don't get it done, it's gonna put a bottleneck in for my team. It's like my team, they say they need something from me. Great. I got to get that in my zone time because that's when I've got to fill it. I've got to create it. I got to get it done. So we're going to put that in there. And then the last block of time that we're going to put in play, is basically the other time. We're going to then fill the other time with whatever's left. Okay? But you see that I'm prioritizing me first, the creation and strategy second, the production of stuff, zone time, third. And this is where a lot of my revenue generating activities, this is zone time for me. Deliver. This is zone time for me. Okay. When I go to do a keynote, that's zone time. It is blocked out. So I know before I do a keynote, the day before, I've got certain things that I do, kind of a ritual that I do. The morning of, I've got, 10 days, I'm going to deliver a keynote. So I have a ritual. I get in a certain time. I get in early enough to walk the place, to see the staging, to go through things. There are rituals. That is zone time. That is most important because when I hit that stage, when I go to deliver, I want to know that I can pour everything into that moment to give them everything I possibly can. And so this is how I start to apply the ABC method in setting up my week. So on Sundays, I'm kind of looking at what are the non-negotiables, what's the elevated time, what's the zone time, what's the other time. Block the time out. Everything's scheduled. Everything's done. Now there comes a thing where we want to delete certain time because remember we're going to go through that time diary, and at some point I want you to delete certain time. Okay, and the challenge is you kind of go, well, I don't know how to delete. What do I delete? What do you go through? And I found a great framework to do this is a framework it's not mine. It's Craig Ballantyne's. Okay. And it's to ask yourself 4 questions as you go through it. And so when we look at this from a standpoint of what we're doing, you're gonna be able to understand which things you want to get rid of, which things you're going to let go of. It's called the delegation grid. And you just think about it. Just think about it from 4 boxes. Let me move forward on this. Actually, let me just do it this way. Okay. So the delegation grid, you're going to ask 4 simple questions. And the first question you're going to ask is this. What are the things I hate doing? Okay. What are the things that I don't like to do? Okay. Like for me, I don't want to do post-production on my show. I want to create. I want to relate. I want to deliver. That's it. Once I film, I want it to go into the wild blue yonder into the clouds. And then they do whatever they do. And it shows up on YouTube, it shows up on the podcast, and it shows up everywhere else. I don't want to be in a place where I'm having to do the edits and all that stuff. And so what you're going to do is these 4 boxes, you're going to say, what are the things I hate doing? Now, some of it you might have to do for a period of time. Like you might have to do your own Facebook ads or your own ads for a period of time. But like then you get to a point where you don't. And in that box, I want you to also log the number of hours you might get back if you stopped doing it. So let's say I was doing post-production, and by getting someone in place, I saved myself 3 hours. Okay. Now I go to the second question. The second question that he had people ask is, what are the things that I know I should stop doing? All right, these are the things. So all right, we all have these. We all have these. These are the things that you know you're doing, but you probably shouldn't be doing. All right. I'm an accountant. Even though I'm an accountant, I probably shouldn't be doing my own bookkeeping. I can. Certainly have the skills. Certainly have the talents. I can do it. Should I be doing it? Is it the best use of my time? Now, if you enjoy ticking and tying and doing bookkeeping and you get a whole lot of joy out of it, yeah, okay, just do it, I guess. But what are the things you should stop doing? That's the second question that he has people ask. And so once you ask that, you go to the third question. These are the things, this is the way that he's sorting through what is it that you need to delete. Okay, so the third question is, let me do this. If I stop doing my own books, maybe I get 2 hours back. All right. So I want to put math to this. Then the third question is going to be, what is not your job? What's not your job? Okay. So I was getting ready for a launch once. And I did my own sales page. And all of a sudden, the sales page crashed. Like, I designed it and everything. I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was a work of art. It crashed. And I called a mentor of mine up. I go, oh my God, I got to get this thing done. And it crashed. And he says, wait, hold on a second. I said, what? He goes, are you creating your own sales page? Yeah. He goes, are you doing the design of it? I go, yeah. I was proud. And he says, why the hell are you doing it? I go, what do you mean? He goes, it's not your job. And he says, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you someone to go do it. You're going to hire them. You're going to let them get it done. Literally, they got it done in one quarter of the time that I got it done. And oh my God, it put mine to shame. It looked so good. Like I was in the wrong lane. How many times do you spend time in the wrong lane? So if it's not your job, then it's important for you to let it go. Now, maybe in this case, had I let it go sooner, I might have saved myself a little bit of time. Maybe I would have got 2 more hours back. So I got 3 hours for getting rid of the stuff I hate doing. I got 2 hours for stopping doing the things I shouldn't be doing. And then I got another 2 hours for that is not my job. Now we get to the fourth question that Craig has people ask. And that fourth question is this, is what are your distractions? Like we all got them. Mine is a daggone video game that I downloaded on here. And then like when I want to be distracted or I get on here, I start playing. Next thing you know, an hour's gone. This is why we're doing the time diary. Okay. So what I need to do is actually delete that game so it wasn't accessible. I probably also need to delete the pantry too, because I get up and go to the pantry sometimes when I'm thinking I need some brain food. So now all of a sudden you get rid of the distractions and you find yourself in a situation where you get another hour back. So think about this. I get rid of the stuff I hate doing, which makes me feel better. 3 hours back. I get rid of the stuff. I stop doing the things I shouldn't be doing. I get 2 hours back. I stop doing the things that aren't my job. I get 2 hours back. So now we're at 7 hours. And then I get rid of the distractions and I'm focused. I get another hour back. That's 8 hours. 8 hours. That's one whole working day back. If the value of my time is $300 an hour, the value of what I got back was just $2,400. Reclaim your time. Reclaim your time. That's why this is so important, is because we tend to, just like William Penn said, we tend to waste our time, yet that's what we should be valuing the most. It's what we want the most, is to have our time, yet we waste it on the things that we hate doing, the things we shouldn't be doing, the things that aren't our job, or the things that are distractions. And what the ABC method will do is allow you to not only reclaim your time, but intentionally use the moments of your life in the highest value way, so you have the richness that you deserve. It's so important for you to do this, to understand the dynamics around it, to be able to sit back and say, I control my time, and that every moment matters. And every moment is intentionally spent. Watch this. No different than your finances. No different than your money. We're creating a time resource plan, okay? That basically says, here's the hours I have, here's the minutes I have, here's the moments I have, here's how I'm going to use them. It's the same thing I do with my students, and that we have in my upcoming book, in the trainings when I coach. We create a cash resource plan that says, here's where my money is going, where every dollar is going to go, where it's going to go. The value, the power of this is not the plan. The power of it is that you do it before you make the money or before the time is gone. In other words, you do it in advance. And so what will happen from a financial standpoint when you use a cash resource plan, like we're talking about a time resource plan here with the ABC method, is now you know in advance what you should be doing. Remember I said I have to be able to be fully vested in the moment in order for me to say yes to it? Here's what happens. If I know that this block of time was for me to go work out, my mind is clear. I'm not thinking about a thing. I'm not worrying about, I got to get back to the office, I got to get this done. No, because my mind is clear. You're free to enjoy the moment. If you block the time out in the middle of the day to take a walk through the gardens, you're not worried about the other stuff. You're present in the moment. You're living richly in the moment. You get it back. And this is how the richness comes back to your life. And the money will allow you to do that, to have the choices. And when you treat your money in the same way you treat your time, you're going to find that both of them will elevate each other. Hopefully this makes sense. Hopefully this will help you out in reclaiming your time, reclaiming the things that are truly, truly important to you. Okay? All right. That's what I have for you today. How do you reclaim your time? This is what I got for you today. So hopefully that helps. I'm going to open it up for questions. I'm going to open it up for dialogue. I want to hear what you think. And tomorrow we go to day number 7. All right, day number 7 is going to be fun. We're going to drop another prompt in the morning. I'll see you in the afternoon. And we'll talk a little bit about the Ponzi scheme and why I got caught in it and how I could have avoided it. Okay. And some of the things that you can do to keep your money safe as you start to invest. All right. So, all right, let me open it up. You can type your questions in on Instagram, on any of the platforms. I'm here. I can see it, and we'll bring it up. If you have questions, we'll take it from there. If not, we'll shut this puppy down for the day. Hopefully you're getting value out of this. And those of you, all right, real clear. I have replays of all of these on a replay page. So if you have not seen the replay page, then in order to get to the replay page, if you've not signed up for the link, go to melabraham.com/momentum. Or if you're on Facebook or on Instagram, just put the word momentum in and you'll get to the replay page. You get to the registration page to get to the replay page. And you'll get it. Remember, this is I'll have all this up there. You'll have worksheets for each of the sessions on the replay page that you can download, and it'll be up there for a limited time, but it's there for you. So you can go through it. You can get your husband through it. You can get your wife through it. You can get your kids through it. You get a chance to digest. Do it as a group. Do it as accountability partners. Whatever it is, do it together. All right. Let's take this journey together. So, listen, it's my birthday. It's my daughter's birthday. Happy birthday to daughter. So she's going to have to listen an hour. No problem. Yeah. So each day that makes me feel alive is after exercising. I feel great after exercising. That's why I do it in the morning, So I do my thinking, my creating, my reading, and some writing in the morning. I go work out. I'm feeling vibrant. Then I get on the beach with my dog for 45 minutes to another hour, and I'm good to go. All right, candidate whisperer, Linda is in the house. She says, this is great. She said, what about not being able to afford yet delegating? It seems like all my time is things that I don't want to do. So here's the thing. Sometimes we don't realize it. Now, I don't know your situation. Okay, so I don't want it to seem flippant, but sometimes we don't realize that the fact that we can't afford it is the very reason we need to do it, to give us the time to start to get more revenue. And I don't know if that's the case for you. The alternative is to start asking a different question. And that question is not if I can afford it, but how can I afford it? What can I do to try and make this more affordable? Is there a barter? Is there something I can do? Is there some other negotiating that I can do? Is there something that I can stop to bring this on temporarily? There are things like that. Now, there are some things, like I said, remember at the beginning, you might be running your own Facebook ads, because these Facebook ads people, sometimes they're really expensive. They want thousands of dollars plus the ad cost and all that stuff. So I get it. So you end up having to do that. Look, I don't enjoy doing Facebook ads, but there was times that I did them, and so sometimes we just have to buckle up and do it. But if we're going to do that, identify the highest stress ones that you don't want to do and say, what is it going to take for me to let this one go? And set a plan in place to get you to a point where when I hit this target, I'm going to let this go. So you are reaching for something, and that there's a direction with a goal in mind. And the reward is I get to let this thing that I don't like go. Okay. And I would take the highest stress one first and see if I can get rid of that to relieve it. Or you look at it from another way. It's highest stress or biggest time suck. So you can get more time back. Okay. Hopefully that helped, Linda. Great question, because it comes up. Look, there's things that I would love to have a whole team of people constantly doing filming, doing all that. But that stuff gets really expensive. I could spend $1 million just on film crew, social media, and all that stuff. Ain't gonna happen. Ain't gonna happen. So cool. All right. Other questions? Anything else? That was a good question. I see Amy, Beach Babe 59. Is it Leah Morris? Daniel? Melissa? Drew? Drew, I got you in both places. You're on YouTube and on he's watching me in stereo. Any other questions? Anything else on finances, on money, on your journey that I can ask? I'm likely going to, just so you know, I'm likely going to be doing at least a weekly show live. Okay? A weekly live show. It may, I haven't decided yet. It may be like I did with the Money Mentoring Over Coffee, a private Zoom room, and not open to everyone unless you registered for it. I haven't decided that yet, but it allows for an intimate environment where I'm working on one platform and not multiple platforms at the same time. But it's likely to start in a couple of weeks, and that way I'll be there for you. How do you find someone to trust to delegate a task? Linda, you're asking some good questions. You're going to kiss a few frogs to get your prince. Here's the thing. You need to be very deliberate in your hiring process, very critical in your hiring process. And that starts with, what do you want from them? One, I will always hire for values first. Okay. Skill sets second. Values first, skill sets second. Okay. I can get someone with great skills, horrible values, and if there's a values conflict, we're done, no matter how talented they are. So I'm going to really spend some time understanding their values. How do they navigate stress? How do they navigate frustrations? How do they navigate difficult situations? How do they do things? I want to understand their values. Is there an alignment in values first? I'm going to understand their skill sets, but I'm not going to just take their word for it. I hire slow, I let go fast. Okay. So I'm going to test them. I'm going to give them a mini project. In many cases, it's a paid project. Okay. But I want to see how they are working. What are they doing? How are they processing it? What is their communication skills? I want to put them in the heat of battle and see what they come up with. So I'm going to test what they say their skill sets are. Okay. I'm going to then also make sure that we have an evaluation rhythm, that we are consistently having conversations about where they're at, what do they need, to be successful, and that there's this feedback loop that is happening. I will bring people on a temporary test basis for 90 days. And then I will decide beyond that. Then the other piece of this is this: being really clear of the expectations for the job. What does success look like for you? And what does success look like for them? There has to be a match. There has to be a match. And there has to be clarity on what success looks like for you and for them. And then you want to create metrics and KPIs that drive towards that success, so they know every step of the way. Are they getting it? Are they not? You know every step of the way. Are they getting it? Are they not? Too often, I'm gonna pick on social media folks for a moment here. What they will do is they're gonna come in and they're gonna say, here's what we do. Here's my package. My package is I'll do 10 posts a week for you. It'll be carousel. It'll be a mix of carousel. It'll be a mix of image and some video and stuff like that. But we're gonna do 10 posts a week. And here's what the cost is every week. I don't care that it's 10 posts a week, because that's not what I'm measuring. This isn't about putting 10 posts a week. I didn't ask for a job where I want someone to put 10 posts a week. I can do that by putting it in later.com and let it do it on its own. The result that I'm measuring is engagement and audience growth, or conversions that they're getting on my list. And so if the work that they're doing isn't leading to that, I don't care if they do 10 posts or 10,000 posts. They didn't get the job done. So being really clear of what the metric is that you're going to measure them by, so they can also measure themselves by it, is really important. And so we need to be really clear about that, Linda, as you start to go through it. I totally agree. You can get, certain college students. There's a lot of people out there that you can hire at a lower price point, create win-win environments for them, allow them to grow into it. So there is a way to do that. So cool. Hopefully that helped. I see someone on Facebook. It says Facebook user, but I don't know who it is. It says I have a payment plan for our business program that is beginning. I'd like to pay in full, but don't have the cash to pay in full right now. I'm considering reaching out to a friend who is a seven-figure creator and influencer and asking for a loan for the lump sum. That way I save versus payment plans, credit card interest, and he can earn some interest on, let me see, on an agreed upon contract. Obviously, we'd draft a proper legal contract containing terms so he is protected. Any thoughts or advice on this? Thanks, Mel. So here's the thing. When you put money, Joey. All right, man. So when you put money into a friendship, it can impact the friendship. And we need to be careful about that. Okay. And even if you're paying it on a timely basis, it can still impact the friendship. Here's what I mean by that. Say you owe them $5,000. Okay. And you're paying their payments, $5,000. You're paying the agreed upon payments, and then you decide to go on a vacation. And then they see you on vacation. They go, well, wait a second, you owe me $5,000. You're going on vacation somewhere. And the only reason they'll make that comment is because there's a friendship there. If it was a bank or the credit card, and I'm not saying to go with credit cards, but I'm just saying that when there is no relationship, that's not gonna come into play. So even if you make the payments on time, there can be a stressor on the relationship. So I would be really careful about it and be really upfront about it that I'm gonna live my life, and these are the I'm gonna continue the payments, and then if I may pay early, I may not, you know. But if you're going to do it, make it legal as much as you can. Separate the relationship from the business transaction. Okay. From the business transaction, separate it and make it legal. Even if the person says, I know, yeah, with just a handshake. Nope. For my own peace of mind, I want to make sure that we're fully agreed on. Okay. Now, if this is a business program you're in that has a payment plan, I know that there's a premium when you pay a payment plan. Depending on what that premium might be, you may not have to put it on a credit card. I don't like credit cards right now because of the magnitude of the interest rates is way too high. So I mean, those are your options. Is to sit back and say, all right, I'm going to continue with the payment plan, or I'm going to try to negotiate with. I'm going to bring a friend in, but I'm going to try to keep it as arm's length as possible and make sure that I don't put stress on a relationship for something that you sit back and say, okay, it's going to save me, I don't know, $300, and that relationship is probably worth more than $300. Okay, just a thought. My interest rate would be 12% on the credit card. It's not actually for credit cards. It's not bad. It's a horrible interest rate, but for credit cards these days, it's not bad. What is the premium that you're paying if you just do it as a payment plan directly to the service provider? And I don't know what that is if you calculate that interest rate. The other thing to consider is this, Joey, is there something you can do in the short term to bring in money and just pay the damn thing off? Okay. Is there a launch you can do? Is there an Uber drive you can do? Is there anything you can do to just bring an additional cash in, get a cash influx, and then pay it off and you're done with it? Is there stuff that's sitting in a closet that you can sell and just not even mess with it? Okay. So, all right. So I see another one. It says, Deborah says, can't afford to delegate all I need to at this time. Therefore, I often feel overwhelmed and paralyzed as it feels impossible to choose just a few things to focus on at a time. Here's what we need to do. We can list them all out, but then we have to prioritize, like I said, the ones that I want to delegate first. And we're just going to have to do what you can and say, I'm going to start at the top of the list. And if I know that I can't delegate these other things, I can't let it occupy my mind. I can't let it occupy my time. It sounds simple. I know it's not, but the fact is that when you look at a list of stuff, it is going to paralyze you. But remember, I said that in the last session we talked about getting on the playing field. That we have to be in the game, and it's those small steps. Well, if all I can do is delegate one thing, that's the one thing I'm delegating for now. And the rest, I'm just going to have to deal with and find a way to do it, or I'm going to have to put it aside and say, it's just not going to get done because it's not a priority. There are things that I'm not doing right now because I don't have the bandwidth to do it. I communicated with people. I said, it's just not going to get done. Here's when I can get to it. Great point. Making extra cash. I'll have to dig on that one. Thoughts on making it a person-to-person loan versus a business-to-business. If it's a personal relationship, it doesn't matter because you're going to be it's going to be personal anyways because of the personal relationship. If it's for business, I would put it in the business, but you're not going to sit back and say, well, I'm not paying it because it's a business loan, because you have a personal relationship. It's not going to change your ability or your desire to pay it back because there's a personal relationship there and you want to preserve that. So where it's titled is really only for legal purposes and tax purposes more than anything else. Oh, these are great questions. Other questions, other things. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. Yeah. One more. Look out, Stephanie. I'm drinking coffee at 5 o'clock. Anything else? Oh man, you got it. Thank you so much, my friend. Keep me posted and let's have some fun. We're gonna crush it all. Y'all, 2024 is a breakthrough year for all of us. We're gonna make it happen. We're gonna do it together. Cool. Anything else coming up? All right. If not, watch Instagram and Facebook for the next post, which will go out tomorrow morning around 8 a.m. California time. And we will get back together right here live again around 4 p.m. California time. I'll come on a few minutes early like I normally do, I think. And we'll do this again. We've got 4 more days of this left. And remember, there's a replay page up. I'll keep the replay page up after we're done, so you get a chance to go through the 10 days again. You'll be able to download the worksheets for each of the sessions. In fact, at the end, I'll put them all into one document so you have it. And go through the exercises. Go through the exercises. Cool. All right, y'all. You have a blessed rest of your evening, rest of your night. Reclaim your time. Go get it. Let's measure our wealth in the number of moments that we get to control in our life. Let's create the richness in life together again. Let's build the money machine to give us a life of choice and not need. And know that you're not in this journey siloed or alone. You're in this journey with a community, and you're in this journey with me. And we'll do this thing together. And I'm here to answer the questions, to support you in the journey, and make sure that it happens. All right, y'all? All right. You have a blessed evening. I'll see you tomorrow. Cheers.